Welcome back to another episode of the PreCardix Podcast. Jaran, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you.
Yes. So I know we just personally met for the first time, not on screen. So it's great to spend some time with you here today and this weekend. So we could get started. Did you want to explain your role and your job at Marealis?
Yeah, I'm the head of research at Marealis, and back when we started Marealis in 2008, I was actually working as the development manager at the mother company, Stella Polaris. And if you want me to elaborate that.
I think it would be interesting for people to hear a little bit about that.
Okay. So let's say the mother company of Marealis, Stella Polaris, is constantly seeking for innovations, both innovations for the company and for the society. And back in 2007, or let's say it was the start of 2008, we were made aware of a scientific finding at the Norwegian research institution, Nofima, saying that shrimp shell from the Arctic cold water shrimp could actually have the potential for a blood pressure medication. So I took this news article to my boss, the CEO, and said, look what the research institution Nofima say. Shouldn't we do something about this?
And that's when it all began.
That's when it all began.
That's incredible. So 2007, but you have been with the company for much longer than that.
Yeah, 10 years earlier. So
10 years earlier, so 1997.
Yeah.
Wow.
Both as a quality manager, and product manager, and later responsible for development, research, and what have you.
So from 2007 till today, so about 16 years,
yeah,
it has taken from the first thought to actually where we are today.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that must be monumental for you to sit here today, for us to sit here today in the US having this conversation.
Absolutely. From the start, when we started Marealis, when we started the research, saying that this is something we want to develop into for commercialization, the US market has always been the target and the benchmark for everything we've done, both with regards to the product, branding, and regulations, and the consumer. So has all the way been the US market.
So this is really big deal.
Yeah, so this is a big deal for us being here.
Was there ever a point that you wondered if you or the team, the company, that we would get here?
If there was any doubt?
Yeah.
No, it's one of the main issues has been getting safe and sound scientific documentation in order to get the regulatory approvals from the Food and Drug Administration in the US. That has been quite a work.
Right, and lengthy, right? Like nothing happens quickly.
Yeah, nothing happens quickly because we are taking this product after developing the refined shrimp peptide concentrate, which is the active ingredient. We had to do tests both in animals and clinically in humans.
Yeah.
So
I have a few questions about that, but we'll start with the actual product first. So for those who don't know what bioactive marine peptides, the peptides that are in PreCardix, how to explain that to somebody?
Okay, first of all, if you're going to understand a peptide, then you can picture, let's say, a necklace of pearls. Each pearl is a so-called amino acid, and they are binded. The amino acids, the small beads, are binded by peptide bonds. So two beads, two pearls, makes a dipeptide. 3 pearls makes a tripeptide. Okay, and a peptide could be up to 50 pearls long. So it's a part of a longer protein. But we are only let's say we are taking the shrimp protein and using enzymes, natural enzymes, to cut it up in small fragments, small pieces, having 2 or 3 up to 4 pearls or beads, what you say. And so that is small peptides. It's small fragments of a longer protein. Okay?
I get this question all the time in customer service, so I would love to be able to reiterate what you just said, to explain that to people.
Please.
Because one of the other questions that I get, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here.
Yeah, please.
People ask, can I just eat shrimp shells? Will I have the same effect if I just eat a bunch of shrimp shells?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I've heard that before. And you can of course, but you will not have the same effect.
So there's a process between
absolutely
the shrimp shells to what you find in PreCardix.
So what we do, we prepare we prepare or make the peptides ready for uptake over the intestine. So it goes from your stomach to your bloodstream.
Right.
And from the bloodstream, it works as it does.
So you don't recommend that we eat shrimp shells?
No, not directly. You can eat the shrimp, but not the shrimp shell. That we can use for other purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that we know what a peptide is, going to PreCardix, one of the other questions that people ask all the time is, do I have to take 2 pills at the same time? Can I take only 1 pill? And can I take 1 in the morning, 1 at night? So how would you answer that? Yeah,
very good question. That was something we discovered doing the pilot clinical trial in Finland back in 2012, I think it was. We gave one group these products, saying take 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. And the other group took both at the same time, between meals, between breakfast and lunch. We didn't see any effect in the group taking 1 pill in the morning and 1 pill in the evening.
Interesting.
Yes, that is very interesting. It was not, we did not find scientific literature to back that. We didn't understand it until we saw the results from the clinical trial, because the other group, which took the both tablets at the same time, then we could go further and search for more information on that. And that is something about the uptake of these peptides over the intestine. So there's certain receptors in your intestines,
right,
who says, oh, here is a certain amount of peptides. Get ready. We need to take this up to the body. But if that amount is just too small, they will just not discover it, or they will not see it, or it will not pass over to the bloodstream.
So what you're saying is we have figured out the perfect dosing.
I would say so. I would say so, absolutely. And that dosage, after doing the pilot trial, clinical trial, we after that, and that was a big discovery actually for us. After doing that, we continued using the same dosage, but we understood that we had to take both tablets at the same time, 1,200 milligrams of this shrimp peptide concentrate. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So still staying on the same topic of PreCardix and how it works, what if somebody was to take PreCardix and they didn't have elevated blood pressure or blood pressure concerns?
If you have a normal blood pressure, a healthy blood pressure in a normal range, you will not observe any effect. You can take it for precautionary reasons, of course, but the blood pressure will not go below normal range.
What about allergies?
Yeah.
What if you're allergic to shellfish or shrimp? I think there's some confusion of the actual, like actually ingesting.
Absolutely, that's also.
Or the proteins having the same sort of, I guess, allergen.
Yeah, the shrimp protein has allergenic potential. That's what you call it.
Allergenic potential.
Yeah, and in order for a protein to have allergenic potential is the molecule or the protein has to be of a certain length, let's say, and scientific community, we call it molecular weight. So we measure it by weight.
Yeah.
And so it has to be so-called, let's say, have a molecular weight. No, I know I'm getting a little scientific here.
Just a little.
Less, yes. So, but the peptide has to be of a length which gives a weight of, let's say, 5,000 to 6,000 Daltons. Daltons is the units you use. But our peptides in this product, this active product, is under 2,000 Daltons.
So the non-scientific version would be, if you're allergic to shellfish, you can or cannot take PreCardix.
Well, first of all, follow the advice on the package.
Right.
Yeah. So I will not give an active advice on that you should not be concerned about this. But we have developed this product and we have no molecule with allergenic potential in the product.
Okay.
So because it's so small. It's this small D.
I'm just
and
thinking
peptides.
about how big a shrimp is.
Yeah.
Like they're not very big.
No, it's not very big, and we are really talking about small molecules here. So
these are the kinds of questions that come through customer service. So it's great to be able to sit with you and ask you directly these questions, because although I do know the answers, sometimes there's little pieces that are missing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, put you down the spot again.
Please.
Okay.
I love this question.
How is it working with us in Canada, first off? And secondary to that question would be why Canada as the first place to do the launch? And it's made in North America, specifically in Canada. So what is the connection or the reason for Canada?
When we made this protein or peptides in Norway, we asked ourselves how could we, the easiest way, reach North America. So we used Canadian experts on regulatory, and then while we were aiming for the US market, they asked us, why don't you have a look into the Canadian market while you're waiting for US or FDA, Food and Drug Administration? Because Health Canada is also very positive to natural products.
Right.
So we did that. We approached Health Canada, which is has the same role as FDA have in the US. And they have a little shorter process for approval.
Than the US does.
Than the US. So that is the main reason, actually, we approached Canada first.
And then you get to work with us.
Yeah, that's lovely. I like
lovely.
that. I like that very much. So
I wanted to ask you a few questions about the clinical study, because that's, again, something that comes up quite a bit. So how long did it take, and what were some of the challenges that came up during the clinical study?
After having a validated dose, we needed to recruit subjects or patients into the study. So we screened more than 600 subjects, seeing are you more or less qualified for this study. So we are looking for healthy volunteers. They should not be on medication. They should not have hypertension. But they should have elevated blood pressure in order to, as I said earlier, if you don't have any, or if you have normal blood pressure within a normal range, you will not observe any effect. So we needed some patients with elevated blood pressure. So we screened more than 600 people, both men and women, above 30 years of age. And I must think it took us some time, but we did this we recruited patients both in the US, Canada, the Czech Republic, and Germany.
So where was the clinical trial done?
Yeah, it was all on all these sites.
On all of them?
Yeah. both so, and from before we had data from the clinical trial in Finland. So we have subjects from altogether 5 countries: Finland, the US, Canada, Czech Republic, and Germany. So I think that adds up to 5, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
So it was a so-called multi-centered study. Yeah. So,
and we write that, we say that all the time, but I don't think people know exactly what that means.
No, that means it's done on several locations, not only on one location.
And how long did it take?
That took us 2 years. So it took more time than we expected, but we finally got there. So with the help of North American expertise, both in the US and Canada.
And was it in the clinical trial that you discovered that it takes up to 8 weeks to see results? Yeah. Or did you already know that going in?
I think it's well accepted within the scientific community and the, health industry, using natural products, that you need more time with natural health products than you would need with drugs. Drugs are very potent. You can probably see an effect already after a few days. But for natural health products, if it's peptides or if it's omega-3s, it's accepted that natural health products takes more time to work. It works in different ways, but as you know, we see an effect. So we knew that it would take up to 8 weeks.
People are always looking for instant results.
Yeah.
So that's always something really important to remind people that
absolutely,
it takes your body time to adjust.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. So it works in many different ways. And as I probably mentioned earlier, we have over 20,000 unique peptides, which is working in different ways. But we know the mechanism behind why it's working. We have tested it in all possible manners, and we know the mechanism of why the blood pressure, or we can observe the blood pressure reduction.
I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part about working either with Stella Polaris or Marealis? But I'm going to try to get you to tell me specifically, why do you like working with our team? And what would be one of the biggest milestones that you've had so far?
Yeah. First of all, back to your start.
Yeah.
I think it's very fun or interesting to work with the gap between the industry and the academia, this scientific community. What can we learn from both parts? Working with people is the most interesting, I think. Working with innovation is another.
But were you surprised by that? I know that you said that you had read about it.
Good question. I read about it, and the research institution Nofima told us this, but they have only done it in lab. They have not tested it in humans. So we had good indications, but having indications in the lab is something different than having an effect in a human being.
And seeing it in market.
Sorry, saying it.
And seeing it in market, right? When I can tell you about how customers are feeling, that all goes back to your research.
Yeah, and what makes me, very emotional is when I hear that people who has been struggling with blood pressure and experienced side effects, when they tell us that, wow, I've seen the same effect, but all the side effects are gone.
I think I just found the connection between my job and your job.
Yeah.
And
Good.
we've spent the weekend together. But from what you're saying is exactly how I feel as customer service.
Yeah.
So to hear on the research end that you're saying exactly how I feel makes me feel emotional about it, because it's a big deal.
It's really a big deal, actually. And If I could mention a story, we got a letter from one guy in Norway, which we have said, okay, you can test it out, even though it's not approved for marketing in Norway. And he has really been struggling. And when he comes back to us and use some really, let's say, good words about the effect it had, it made us all quite emotional about.
We're doing good things.
Yeah, it's good things.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's.
It's funny that I just found, like, as you were speaking, it just touched me so much in my role.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's good.
So as we say here in America, what is the most exciting part to you about this launch here to the American population?
Yeah, US has, since we started in 2008 with Marealis, the US market has all the way been the ultimate goal for the product. Coming to the US, seeing the challenges and people looking for solutions, it's about helping people in North America to hopefully getting a more healthy life.
And millions of people.
Yeah, millions of people.
Yeah.
It's a huge market.
Yeah.
It's really a huge market. So yeah, it's basically it's about helping people getting a better life.
Well, Jaran, it's so great to sit down and have this conversation and to sit in person.
Absolutely.
And have these questions answered and have such a great conversation. So thank you so much for being here today.